So I want this to be as honest of a chat as it can be because I know what it's like to be going on YouTube and looking up how do I know if I'm gay? I know what that feels like because I did it. I think everyone has the experience and knows what it feels like to go on to Google and search the how do I know if I'm gay quiz, and like the am I gay quiz comes up and you take it over and over again and it keeps telling you like maybe, yes, I don't know, and it's like seriously just give me an answer. Like we all know what that feels like. And it's weird for me to be talking about online just because it's something that I don't know if I've always kept it super private. I definitely haven't. But I have, especially in the last year or so, just started to not really identify with any labels anymore. So actually talking about it, like, I don't think I've talked about being gay very much on the podcast or the brand, any of it. I don't think I have. I think it just hasn't come up. Honestly, like to me, I just am me. I just am whoever I am, and I don't need a label for that. But I definitely did want a label for it before. I definitely this is a transition that I've gone through in the last like year or so. So it just feels a little bit like, oh, like I haven't talked about this for a long time. I have a roommate who I was talking to, and I don't know if someone asked my sexuality or if we were just talking about it. I don't know. But they, she said she was like, you know, I don't really know what to respond to that question. Like, just like, I don't know, like, what's Alessia's sexuality? Like, women, like I don't know. And so it was just something that really stood out to me that moment because I was like, yeah, you know what, honestly that's my goal. Like even my roommate didn't know what I actually identify as. Like, yes, I technically am a lesbian, and I'm learning. I have before been comfortable with that term, and I'm learning to be comfortable with it again, but it's less of being uncomfortable with it and more of I just don't feel like labeling myself anymore. I am me and I am gay, and I want to recognize that again. And I never brought it up on the podcast. I never really said anything about it because it just never came up. But I feel like this is just a really important video, and I think it's something that's really important to have a voice there and to have representation there. And also just I know what it's like to be searching for these videos. I know what it's like to be watching them, to be questioning, and never did I ever think that years later I would be someone making this video for you. Like I've been there and I know what it feels like. So, to talk about this, I just want to go through the entire process of how I learned that I was gay, figuring out my sexuality, understanding who I am, finding how I, identify myself, all of it. We're going to go through all of it until up into this very moment. So, I think I was in about a seventh grade. I was in seventh grade when I first started realizing that I might be attracted to women. I had a friend that I really, really wanted to get to know. I just thought she was so cool. I really wanted to get to know her more. And I figured, I just want to be her best friend. Obviously, duh, right? I just, it's a new person. I grew up in a small school, so it was like you had your friend group and that was kind of it. So it was like, oh, I just want to, get to know someone else, right? And so I was like, yeah, I just want to be your best friend, right? So we get to know each other, and I realized I was like, I just feel a little bit confused. I was like, I just still somehow feel like I almost need to like impress her or something, which is weird for me to talk about now because she is still one of my best friends and she knows about this whole situation. But I'm sending her this video before I post it, and also I know her and I know that I can talk about this. But it still feels weird for me to talk about it because, it's when I realized that I was gay. Like it's a big moment, and it's so weird for me to be talking about it online because I don't think I've ever really told anyone about this because I was always afraid that people would figure out who it was. So, we're going to talk about it though. So, I mean, I just was like constantly confusing myself. I was constantly going through like, why is it that I just like, why do I feel like I need to be better friends with her? Like why? And I was just really confused. And I was like, why do I get so excited when I think of, seeing her in the hallway or anything like that? And then I was in math class one time. And one of my classmates was talking about something that had happened with her. Like, I don't even remember what. Is some like, oh, so and so did this or something. And I remember my face got so hot and I knew immediately that my face was probably red. And I put my face down and I tried to pretend like I was working on my homework, and I was just so focused, and I was like, this can't be happening. Like, why am I getting embarrassed hearing her name? And that was the moment when I was kind of sitting there and I was like, oh no, like, I think I have a crush on her. Like, this is all of the telltale signs that I hear of, like, oh, when you have a crush on someone, right? Like, and it was there. And I was like, great. I can't, like, that can't happen. I was always like the good girl in like my school, in my class, all of it. Like, I got good grades. I was always doing the right thing. I never went against anyone. I was what everyone expected. I never did anything unexpected. So this was way unexpected for me. I did not, like, no one would have thought it at the time. Now it makes sense to people. At the time, this was not just I guess I'm gay. Like, no, this was like an entire identity crisis for me. So I went home and I cried. And the next day I did too. And the next day I did too. And it happened for a long time because I was really scared. I grew up in a Catholic high school, and I also was a very Catholic person. I always believed that it was okay to be queer, but there was something different about it being me. I don't consider myself religious anymore, but just knowing that it was me was such an identity crisis because I was scared of what the people around me would say, and I was scared of what the church would say, and I was scared of everything. So I tried to hide it, and I tried to make it go away. I prayed every single day, multiple times per day, asking God to make my sexuality go away, to make it go away, to, realize that I was just making it up, to realize that I was just wrong, that I, just to make it go away. Like, anything, I would do anything. I just wanted it to go away. And of course it didn't. And somewhere along the line, I realized, okay, this is like, I can't hide from it anymore. I told the girl, and she was so understanding about it, and was actually one of the first, she was honestly the first person that I told that I was queer. And she was the one that sat me down and was like, you cannot be hard on yourself for this. Like, it is okay. And you are incredible the way that you are. And please, it's not a sin. It's not a terrible thing. Like, this is your identity, and that's okay. And that was so empowering for me. So empowering for me, because I realized, wait, I thought she was going to hate me. Like, I genuinely thought that this person was going to hate me because, we're in a Catholic school. Like, that's just it's wrong. It's disgusting. It's gross. It's all of these different things. And so sitting down and realizing that all of the judgment was coming from myself was really empowering. And yes, there are people who still are judgmental of it. There were people in that school who were judgmental of it. I'm not saying that all of it came from me, but the amount of it that I was getting at the time was coming from me, from my own fears, from me just being scared for good reason. Again, like I said, I went to a Catholic school. It was hard. It was really hard at first until more people started coming out. And I realized that a lot of my friends were gay too. A lot of the people around me were. A lot of them were queer of some way, shape, or form. And that it wasn't wrong. When I was younger, I remember I would play a game with my friends or my cousin or anyone. And whenever we would play house, because of course we had to play house, it was just a thing, I would always pretend that I was a single mother, that I had been married and then got divorced, or that my husband had tragically died in something. It's terrible. But that was always what I said every single time, because I think right from that moment I knew that I couldn't imagine myself with a guy. I really couldn't. And I remember even sitting down when I was younger and being like, why are all my friends saying that they have husbands in this game? Why would I want to do that? I always would picture my life and I would think like maybe I'll just adopt or something. Like I just never wanted a husband. I just always thought like, well, I guess I'll do it. Like I'll have a husband because that's just, what you do. When I realized that I was gay, it started to make sense. It started to make a lot of sense. And then I realized this new, incredible, huge thing about me, and I felt like, wow, okay, but I don't feel it at all. Like, I don't feel like I'm a part of this community at all, because to me, I was the good Catholic girl, the good, I didn't do anything unexpected. I didn't do anything like this. So I was like, I need to fit the part, right? So I really tried to change myself a lot. I tried to change the way I dress, change the way I act, change the way I talk, change the people I was around. I tried to change everything. It never felt like me. I did it for years. I did it for probably about 4 years, where I really tried to change who I was. And I tried a lot of new things in terms of my identity out too. Like, for example, I colored my hair at one point because I saw other gay people doing it. So I was like, it's my turn. I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing. I did an eyebrow slit and I still have it because I love it and it's my baby. I tried a lot of different things. I tried different makeup looks. I tried different outfits, all of these things. And I'm not happy I had to go through that. I'm not happy that I had to go through the process of feeling like I needed to look like other people in order to fit an identity, or to act like other people in order to fit an identity, or any of these different things, because I know that that is a big struggle within the community. Um, and it did teach me a lot of things, because it did give me a chance to explore and find, what is it that I actually like, who am I really? So for example, I kept that eyebrow slit. I kept my hair short. I kept all of these things that really felt like me. And I got rid of the ones that didn't. Like wearing a flannel t-shirt. Like that's just not me. I love it for people who can, but it's not me. Like I like to dress up. I like to be myself. Like I like to have like a business casual kind of look, or just a casual kind of look, but I have my own sense of style and it's just mine. It's no one else's, it's mine. And I didn't want to change that. So just with any process of finding yourself, I went through it. And it was a struggle and it was weird, and I think I tried to be a little bit more masculine because I felt like that's what it meant to be a lesbian. If I'm a lesbian, I have to be more masculine. And I realized that's not true. And I don't think I realized that until I got into my first serious relationship, my first long-term relationship. And the person I was dating was pretty masculine. And so I kind of took the role of being more feminine, and I realized, like, wait a second, this feels like me. Not all of it. Not all of it did. And I'm still finding myself, once I got out of that relationship, I realized, like, wait a second, I'm a mix. I'm just me. Like, I felt like there was a lot of masculinity in that relationship, so there wasn't any room for any more. And I'm not a very masculine person, but every so often I have my little things, and I felt like I had to be so feminine. And so it just shifts. It shifts so much, and my identity changes, and figuring out how I express my identity changes, and I realized that that's okay. Now I am me. Like I have this tattoo that I absolutely love her. She's beautiful. I love her so much. And if you watch the video about my tattoo, I guess it's not a video actually, but if you listen to that episode, I talk about the fact that I got it in this location because it feels like a little bit more of a masculine location to me than all the other locations I was thinking about, but it's a feminine design. And to me, that is kind of just like, it just feels so right, like a mix of the two, just being myself. And that just felt really right. I'm thinking about getting another tattoo, maybe on my shoulder or something, and just kind of like just exploring it. Like, we only live once, we are human. Like all of the cheesy sayings that you hear, like they're all true. And I'm learning to just embrace myself for me. So when I first came out, I really, really embraced labels. I really, really wanted a label. I was like, I'm lesbian, I'm demisexual, I'm all of these different things, right? And today I've learned I'm just me. Maybe I still fit into those categories, but I don't need that. I say that I'm gay, it's an umbrella term, and it's true, but I also just, for me, I just have felt that I don't need those labels right now, and maybe in the future I will. And my big point here is to say, like, you don't need to have a label. If that doesn't feel right to you, you don't need to. And if it does feel right to you, then take it. Like, take that label, embrace it, be yourself. And also, it's just a journey. It takes so much. But it's a beautiful journey. It's a journey that you learn who you are. And I think if I can get one thing across to you in this entire video, hearing someone's story, I think is really empowering and it's really helpful, especially because I know so many of you out there are very feminine people or are more feminine than you think you should be in order to have this identity. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter how you express yourself. It doesn't matter how you talk. It doesn't matter any of that. It matters who you are. And you can be whoever you want to be, whoever you are. You don't need to look a certain way. Yes, it can feel so difficult to be like, oh, yeah, I'm a part of this community, but I don't feel accepted. I don't feel embraced in it. It can be really difficult. But I think we're getting a lot better at it just as a community as a whole. And I also think, in the end, I would rather be myself and maybe feel a little bit left out than change myself. And if there's one thing that I can have you take out of this video, it is please don't change yourself for other people. Change yourself for you. If you want to experiment with different ways to express your identity, go for it. Like, that's incredible. But don't do it because you feel like you have to. Because that was really difficult for me. And I don't want anyone else to go through that because I know that I'm not the only one that does. When the first, I think, video or the first thing that I related to when I was watching a video and trying to figure out if I was gay was a video by Ali and Sam, which I will link their account because they're just incredible human beings. And they're both femme. And that really, really, it just spoke to me because I realized, okay, if they can do it, like, I can do it too. So that's, I guess, the story of how I figured out that I was gay. I am more than happy to answer any other questions, any other identity crises, any of it, because I know what it's like. I know it's not easy. It's not fun. But it's very rewarding because being able to be yourself and not judge yourself for it eventually, it's incredible. And if you do judge yourself right now, like, I did too. It sucks, but I did too. Be kind to yourself, but also don't be hard on yourself, please, because you are incredible the way that you are.